a lot of times you just hit a dead end. You're like, okay, I can't, whether it's like you can't get a hold of an agent or, one of your sources somewhere else says, yeah, that's not what I'm hearing at all. Even like right now, like there's a ton of chatter in Sacramento and around the league about Trae Young and the Kings, right?
Yeah.
We've heard it like last couple of days, like I don't remember who the guy was in Houston or Dallas that the Kings are interested in Garland, and they
Yeah,
had
Grant Asfeth,
yeah,
or something like that.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a deal in place for or a framework of a deal for Trae Young. And now, like as you get past it a little bit, because these things pop up because there's a reason they're being brought to the surface, right? Like either somebody wants a trade to happen and it's not happening, or somebody doesn't want a trade to happen and they want sort of the backlash for a trade. And so there's always going to be reasons why something like this comes out. But the more I hear about the Trae Young stuff, the more intriguing it gets, because I do think the Kings and the Atlanta Hawks have had conversations. But the more I hear, the more I'm hearing that Scott Perry might not be, his hand isn't hovering over the button to say yes to a deal. Whether it's because he thinks that there might be better options out there for the Kings this summer, or whether he's not enamored with Trae Young as like the guy that you want running your franchise for the next couple of years.
Mhm.
And then there's also the issue that Trae's got a year left on his deal, and then another year that's a player option, and he wants an extension this summer that would be massive. And it's, if you're going to put all your eggs in that basket, you want to be 100% sure that that's the player that you're really, really wanting to have around your team forever, because there's going to be cost to it, but to acquiring him. But also, like if you're going to make a player, like give him an extension when he's already making 49 million bucks, we're talking about the next deal is,
Might be around 60, 55, something like that.
I think it starts at 53 or 54, and then it goes up from there.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be a lot of money.
It is. And if you're not a Trae Young fan, I am. Like I'd love Trae Young on this team and all that. I think it'd be great. I think you have to work around that because obviously there's some defensive issues and all that, but that's just more things for Scott Perry to fix. But if you don't love him or you're not in on that deal, you said the phrase better options this offseason. Like, I really hope you do end up with one of those options then. Because if you go through a whole offseason, it's like, yeah, we struck out. We tried, but we struck out. It's like, how many times have we heard that before?
Okay, so let's start there, because I think that that's one of the things that Scott Perry's facing, right? Like I've already heard like some murmurs that, hey, there's a deal, just make the deal. Make the deal now. Like don't wait, just do it. And that's because there are a lot of people in Sacramento, both internally and externally, who are sick and tired of what happened here during the Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox era, where you had this deal or you had that deal, and you had, how much of that do you think the baggage of the previous regime should Scott Perry be concerned with? And he's got to combat this,
That's the thing.
unfortunately.
He has to be concerned with 0% of it, I guess. It needs to be out of sight, out of mind for him. Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox's mistakes, throwing Vivek Ranadiva if you want, like just their mistakes. That can't be like, oh no, well we didn't get all these deals done last time. We got to get this done this time. Like no, Scott needs to work how Scott works and do what Scott Perry wants to do. It's not just, oh no, we got to get this done because we didn't or whatever. Like there needs to be a process and a plan. And I get kind of the rush and all that, but also you got to let the man work.
I agree.
And I don't think it shouldn't be on his mind or anything like that. It's just whatever plan he has in mind, put that into place and go through with that, I guess. But if the plan is to win, you got to do something though.
Yeah, I think the knee-jerk reaction, if they don't get anything done this offseason, is going to be to just put him in the same boat as Monty and West. Just like, hey man, you clearly you had deals.
It's unfair because he just got here and it's his first offseason. It's just it doesn't work that way usually. We're just get Trae Young or get the star player and all that. Like we don't know how, I don't know how he views this roster and all that, but he does have to deal with just the narratives and the outside noise as well, though.
Yeah, and I think that would be like the freedom of having a true rebuild, of gutting everything and moving forward without, any of the players that you have now, maybe one or two still fit what you're trying to do.
I wouldn't have minded a rebuild, like Keegan Murray playing whatever position. You got Keon Ellis,
Yeah.
and then whoever Zach Lane's here for 1 year, 2 years, just guys just working off of and all that.
But I'm of the same opinion. Like, it's a difficult situation to be in because there are expectations here that weren't met. And there were also like lots of chatter. Like the previous front office liked to make sure that everyone in the league knew that they were working on something.
yeah, it's not kind of, it's embarrassing. The whole they're telling people they had deals and they just never got done. Like, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's what it does feel like that,
Mhm.
right? It feels like, hey, like, why did you let that stuff get out in the open?
Yep.
And not only that, why were you used by everyone in the league to drive up the price of this player or that player? It's tough. So I'm intrigued by it. I hope that Scott like is firmly like putting his foot down and saying, hey, look, this is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, he needs to stand firm against the Sacramento Kings nonsense that's been plaguing this team for however many years.
Yep.
Insert whatever term or whatever, but he also needs to get stuff done too. It's kind of a balance act here.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. And it's something also that that I don't think that, like, initially I think Monty won a lot of these battles in the same way that I think Scott is going to win battles early on. But if the productivity doesn't happen, if the change doesn't happen on the court, you start losing power here and there and more and more and more. The one thing I would say is there is a lot of chatter right now. That's a little concerning because that means that people inside the building are saying things that some of the inner workings, some of the ideas that are out there are already bubbling up to the surface. And that's something that Scott's going to have to figure out and put his foot down and say, hey, look, we're not running this the same way that we did before, where all of this stuff is being mentioned and being dragged out into the press or into the public again and again.
How do you even figure something like that out? Because, like, how, I don't know if it was finding out the mole, finding the rat or whatever in the organization.
Yeah.
But like, it's now we got a new GM, and like you're talking about, like, again, we're already seeing the plans come out to the surface and all that. It's just, how do you fix that?
Yeah, some random dude in Dallas somehow got like the frame what he has found is, and to be honest with you, a lot of what he put out there and is a guy that we never really heard of here in Sacramento.
Yep.
A lot of it is all of a sudden like I'm hearing a lot of it play out on behind the scenes. It's really a weird situation. All right, well, we're going to step aside. We're going to take a break, pay the bills. When we come back, we're going to continue this discussion. Plus, we're going to have a little bit of Jesse and I discussing like the options here between a guy like Trae